Well, I want to do a review today on the Boker Kalashnikov 74 manual. Now, as you know, I already have the Boker Kalashnikov 74 automatic. That's this one right here. It's a really good knife. It's become my go-to EDC when I'm not working or I'm not wearing slacks. So whenever I have the opportunity to wear jeans, this is the one I wear. Now, I will caution, the only thing that I've ever had with this knife as far as a problem has not been in the action, has been in the wear and tear. To me, it's perfectly acceptable. It's an inexpensive knife, but on the outer edges of this clip, it has started to show some wear. Also, there's fuzz in this thing because it pulls my jeans apart like crazy where the pocket's frayed. So, it's a very strong clip. I mean, you can hear that right there, but literally, it's wearing down a little bit after only about 2 weeks. And the fact that it eats my pocket up. I don't know if it has to do with this style pocket clip, but it's doing a pretty good job of it. All in all, this is a good knife. Again, it's a single action automatic with this plunge lock. So, I was curious about getting the manual model because not every place that I go am I able to carry an automatic knife. So, went on Amazon, one of my first go-to places for purchasing a knife besides, say, Walmart. For their exclusives, of course, but Walmart doesn't carry Boker Plus knives to my knowledge, not any local Walmarts in this area. So I went to Amazon and ordered one. Now, the reason you see two right here is I ordered one and I ended up with two because one of them is going back. And I'll show you why. Now, you may call me nitpicky, you may call me crazy, but same knife came in. By the way, it's a good looking knife. I mean, for the money, this is a $34 knife, so I wasn't expecting it to be, one of the $100, $150 knives that you're used to carrying and being fantastic. But the one that came in, I found a problem with it. Now, these two knives, the exact same knife, and you could hear, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, a squeaky noise. Now, I usually oil my knives, but I held off oiling it because I wanted to take a look at the knife before I went to oiling it or tightening anything up. There's the problem. This knife, to me, is actually over-tightened. The pivot screw, right here, is actually way too over-tightened, and I got to looking, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this right here is actually stripped out. So, I contacted Amazon and said, I got a knife that has an issue. The pivot screw's stripped out and the action is not good. I think it's over-tightened. And 2 days later, I got a replacement, which is this knife. Now, this is the one I got, and I picked it up today. Now, it also has that squeaky noise. But the action is a lot smoother. Now, let me tell you about this knife. This also is an AUS 8 steel. That's a good steel. It's a Japanese type steel. Now, they do make it in Taiwan, but it's considered Japanese steel. Now, this is very similar to 440C, so it's a great mid-range quality blade. Now, it is a frame lock on this model as compared to the plunge lock on the automatic version. And then I wanted to compare the two. Now, standard-wise, they're both tip-up carry. But you'll notice something right off the bat. The manual version is considerably larger than the automatic. And it doesn't just go for the blade, it goes in the handle. So all in all, it's a larger knife. Same aluminum handle, but this handle's really nice on both of them. Of course, this is the OD green and this is just black, but I really like the size of this one. I mean, it's a larger knife, but that comes with the penalty of weight. It's also a heavier knife. Now, will I start carrying this more than this one? No. This is a nice knife, and I like the action on it. It's a tension getter, and also the Bowie style blade on this one is really good for getting in there and opening packages. So I'll really appreciate that. But enough of this one. Let me get back to these. This knife right here is, like I said, I paid $34 for it. Actually, my wife, again, ordered me this one, so I do appreciate that. But the first one I got was a lemon. So, it may be just the minor things, but this screw right here, the problem is, if I go to loosen this screw to adjust the action whatsoever, because I have worked with it a little bit, and it's better than it was, but it still has that screechy sound, and I cannot adjust that screw. Just the sheer fact that that has been, you know, stripped or wallered out or whatever you want to say. The problem is, if I go to working with it, I'm only going to get one shot. I'm going to have to end up ordering me another one of these screws, and I don't want to do that. And I started looking closer. Now this screw is actually a little bit crooked inside there, and so is the back fitting on it. And I looked at this one, and it's a lot more flush, and the action is a lot smoother. So I can only assume that this particular knife, sad to say, just won't have a home here. It'll have to go back to Amazon. Everything else on it's good. I did notice though that the spacers on the frame, this one actually tapers in at the bottom, and this one maintains the same width throughout. So I like the consistency on this knife. This right here is just one of those flukes. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the way and focus on this one. Again, a little bit screechy in the action. So what I usually do is I take them, and I always want to start out with, me personally, I like to take rim oil. Now let's just see if a little bit of rim oil, you know what, sometimes you just need a knife to get to the rim oil. See how that Bowie blade just gets in there nice? It's got that thin tip on it that works good, but it's going to make it more fragile, so you do have to take that into consideration. This is a recurve style blade, so let me just put just a tiny drop of oil, there we go, tiny drop of oil right there, start to work that in. Still has that screechy noise, but again, I didn't get a good shot on getting the oil in there because the angle I'm at, I'm trying to show it to the camera, not to myself. But this blade right here, AUS 8 steel, recurve on that, 3.5 inches, frame lock versus the plunge lock on the automatic, only in tip-up carry for both of them, which I prefer anyway. One of those things, man, that's hard to do whenever you're trying to show the camera the oil. Usually I get a drop of oil right there in the action and let it go down. Oh, yep, it's already, well, it took out that screechy noise. That's good. Oh yeah, that's a lot better on the action. It's got a little bit of hesitation right there. Kind of normal, because whenever they're coming down, sometimes they do have a little hesitation on the action, so you don't close the blade on your hand. Really do like this knife. For the money, the fact that it got replaced with a newer one that has just a little bit better quality control. Boker Kalashnikov 74 manual. Again, that is the frame lock, not a plunge lock, because there are some versions that I have yet to actually come across, but there are some versions that are manual with the plunge lock. I've just never actually seen one in person. So, man, there you go. That's perfect. So, about a drop and a half of rim oil got the action smooth. Again, this is the aluminum scales on this one, or handle I should say, with the stainless steel standoffs. Perfect, good. Now, 3.5 inch recurve blade. For some reason, I've now become a fan of recurve blades. Don't know why, but I just like how they are, how the belly comes down, and this is a really good example of it. I haven't seen this knife in any other color except black on this style, but the automatics come in probably 30 or 40 different color combinations. I guess this is kind of the go-to knife for their sales, but this one right here is really interesting. So if you want a different style Boker plus Kalashnikov 74, go with the manual. Just make sure that you don't get the one I sent back, because that pivot screw right there, this one's in pristine condition, so if I ever do need to adjust it, I don't have to worry about it already being stripped out. And if it gets stripped out, that'll be my fault, and I'll take full responsibility for that. So if you're looking for an inexpensive pocket knife, again, got a little bit of rim oil on me. If you're looking for an inexpensive everyday carry, you can either get an automatic with a plunge lock, or you can get a manual with a frame lock. Either way, they seem to be good knives. I'll do an update on this one after I've wore it a few times, because I have been wearing this one for the past few weeks, but I can already tell you that with having the non-painted clip on this one, that I'm not going to have the wear that I have on this one. And I could even, if I wanted to, probably switch clips. But again, I don't really care if the paint comes off the pocket clip, because it's going to be a workhorse and it's going to get used. So I do have some updates on some other knives that I have, and I'll be doing those in the next videos. Hope you appreciate it. Happy hunting, and I hope you get you one that doesn't have any flaws. Thank you. Have a great day.